Hello everyone and welcome. My name is Karen Doyle and I'm Operations Director of CTAM Europe. I hope you're all feeling well today. We are pleased to welcome so many new and temporary members online today, so I would like to give a very short introduction to CTAM Europe. We are a professional membership organisation with over 320 members. We started in 2004 with a vision to advance marketing excellence in the cable industry. And as you all know, a lot has changed in the industry during the last 16 years. We're currently giving free membership of CTAM Europe until the 1st of June, so you can enjoy all the weekly webinars we are hosting. You'll have the option to set up for annual membership at a discounted fee. I'd like to introduce you to today's presenter, Jack Davison, Executive Vice President of 3Vision. I'm sure many of you may already know Jack. He is a conference presenter, has been a conference presenter many times for CTAM Europe and Cable Europe in the past. 3Vision are a leading international content consultancy. Today, Jack will be presenting on the hot topic of Disney Plus and their launch during a global pandemic. Before Jack starts, he's going to share with you a very short, about 90-second video about the CTAM Europe Executive Management Programme, which we hold annually at INSEAD. The programme is due to take place in November this year, and we hope the world will be back to normal by then. We're expecting it to be a full class, and there's still time to register. The class is around 2/3 full. So back to the webinar. You can ask your questions by pressing the Q&A button, and Jack will answer them at the end. So sit back and enjoy, and I'll hand you over to Jack.
Thanks, Karen. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to today's webinar on the rollout of Disney Plus. I hope you're all healthy and comfortable in lockdown. Thankfully, technology enables us all to keep talking, and we're going to do that today. And we're going to talk about Disney's ongoing rollout of Disney Plus. Before we start, as Karen mentioned, I'm going to play a short video of CTAM over the INSEAD program. Thank you, everyone. I think I heard from Karen, we had some problems with the sound there. Apologies for that. I think some of you didn't hear it. But don't worry, if you'd like to learn more about it, Karen can give you all the details by email and you'll be able to see it that way. But even more briefly, by way of introduction on us, Karen's already told you who I am, and we are a content consultancy firm. We work across the whole business with content challenges, using our kind of experience and real life kind of activity to offer strategic support and research to lots of businesses. We also have teams that support services in the EMEA in terms of when they're launching new services and doing content deals. And for 3 years now, we also operate a show tracker syndicated research product that gives us a lot of insight in terms of how content is being distributed in key global markets, which is particularly useful in today's day when there is such a vibrant and competitive market for content. And we work across all sorts of sectors, on the service provider side, for distributors and producers, helping them ensure the full potential of their content, and also incredibly interesting, sometimes small, sometimes large technology sectors, areas like in-car, in-ship, and then also the more of the technologies around the broadcast industry. But today it is Disney Plus we're here to talk about. You all know what it is. It's the Walt Disney Company subscription video on demand service. We're talking about it today because following its late launch in 2019 in the US, they've now rolled out to additional Western European markets, the biggest ones, and then also to India, one of the biggest prospects for media companies in the world. Nobody expected us to be talking about this in the context of the COVID-19 pandemic, but this is undoubtedly going to impact us all. And for Disney, that launch was delayed in France and India. And along with that, they made adjustments, like everyone else, to their bandwidth usage. Social isolation is encouraging all forms of video viewing, and it may be that, excuse me, the streamers will capitalize more on this as free TV broadcasters suffer from the advertisers leaving the market. And we'll no doubt be spending more time talking about that and the longer term impacts and how it may or may not accelerate change in the industry. But all services, including Disney Plus, will be looking at the challenges ahead. Short-term prospects are strong, though, for streamers, but production delays may prove to be a critical issue that will hinder the flow of content. We heard Netflix talk about that yesterday in their results. They're very strong results, and they feel they're well prepared for those, but others may not be so well prepared. And broadcasters may in particular feel this pain faster, but the issue is still there for everybody. Disney's reliance on fresh content means the pressure will be on to ensure the content continues to flow towards the end of the year, especially when you think that in the US, kind of their launch anniversary will be in November, and this will be when many customers will have their annual renewal come up, and it may be when their flow of originals may be starting to hurt. But the US performance following launch has been nothing short of hugely successful, really. In 24 hours, they signed up 10 million subscribers. By the end of the year, they had over 26 million. And by February, in just 12 weeks, they secured 29 million. This is greater than their original forecast, which was 20 million by 2024, proving the qualitative value and strength of Disney in the US. But international is a big part of their business plan, and a very different challenge. It's worth remembering the context of the Disney's context in the US and outside. In the US, they have ESPN, they have the ABC network, they have Hulu SVOD, they have Hulu's virtual pay TV, and the rest of its business. With the parks alone having an average annual attendance of over 50 million visitors. Something, in fact, that may expose them as a company more in terms of the current issues with the global pandemic. Already, Disney have a one-to-one relationship with millions of Americans, whereas internationally that story is very different. But despite that, the business plan has 2/3 of all their subs coming from international. We now understand from releases that they have 50 million global subscribers, with 8 million automatically coming from India, from Hotstar, where they rebranded the service, which I'll talk about shortly, and a further 12 million likely to have come really from Western Europe. There aren't many metrics out there other than those ones we've just talked about. But in the app world, when you look at app downloads and unique account downloads, it's as the same again in the US. It's a very strong story across Android and iOS. Disney was the biggest story of last year, instantly becoming the biggest app in terms of downloads, with over 30 million downloads in the quarter, and only starting in November. And at 30 million, it was more than double the next closest app, which was TikTok, unsurprisingly. Comparing with other SVOD apps is not really ideal because the market has changed so much. But when you look at the number of downloads they had in their peak download month, in terms of instant impact, the Disney obviously were huge. And the chart on the right-hand side that illustrates how much they outperformed other services peak month. But again, the conditions are very different. The service is priced very competitively, in some ways reflecting their smaller content volume. Disney are priced at £5.99 in the UK and €6.99 in continental Europe. As you can see here, the chart for UK services here, that's over 30% cheaper than the Netflix standard plan. But this is on parity with Netflix's most basic option, where they're limited to one stream, and Amazon Prime Video service where there is no shipping involved. But Disney Plus itself is priced only at one level, with UHD and 4 screens included in their one price point. Disney, like Netflix and others, appreciate that although they highly value the direct relationship with consumers, there's a critical need for support from partners. As the whole pay TV and comms market continues to evolve, we are looking more at what that means for aggregators of the future and the re-aggregation of services by operators. Pay TV has an important role to play here, with the newer aggregators, the likes of Amazon Channels, Roku and others, offering little in the way of bundling and selling services and selling the services a la carte only, with some very minor exceptions to that. And until the new aggregators start offering bundles and discounts with services, the likely impact on pay TV will be capped. Although not insignificant, there is still, however, time to act. It's not new, but Disney illustrating that whilst having a D2C relationship is key, there are different ways to work with operators. Some are much closer to old-fashioned pay TV, some are reseller relationships, and then there are hybrid mixed models. Canal in France have the exclusive right to bundle Disney within their packages and are doing this. Along with the pack bundling, they can also resell these to IPTV third-party platforms, an important component in the French market. As with Canal in France, Movistar in Spain have integrated Disney Plus into various Fusion communication service bundles, and for promo periods have also included just in some TV movie packs. Deutsche Telekom and Telecom Italia are both discounting the service on a long-term basis with different bundles of communication services and have extended free promotional periods as well. O2, the mobile telco in the UK, is a straightforward mobile telco partner offering a free promotional period and longer-term discount offers. And then there's Sky. Sky have a non-exclusive distribution relationship with no bundling of Disney Plus within its packaging and no discounting. The partnership coincided with Sky retaining the non-exclusive right to Disney movies in their cinema pack, along with renewing their Fox deal, although how long that deal is renewed for is unknown. Whilst there is no bundling, the service is very well placed within the Sky Q interface, and we shouldn't mistake the non-exclusivity and lack of bundling and discounting for lower levels of integration. Discovery, search and recommendation, it's all becoming even more of an issue in today's highly fragmented world for services. It was a problem before for all of us when building and designing our user interfaces, but now with so many more services, it's even harder. It wasn't that long ago that people were bidding for better EPG positions, better positions on their TV program guides, and Sky's integration is pointing the way to how leading streamers will need to integrate, albeit content here is only re-aggregated into the UI and not into the packaging. Canal, however, are thoroughly integrating Disney Plus into their packaging structure and their marketing activity at the moment. Cine Series Plus is now a remarkable pack. The pack here you can see someone on the sort of top right of those box of 6 on the left. It includes, amongst others, the Canal Plus series and cinema channels, Disney Plus, Netflix, OCS channels, Paramount, Fox Play, Sundance, TCM, Serie Club, I think Warner TV as well. It's a phenomenal kind of repackaging effort. Disney have also been using major broadcasters to premiere and tease their big, well, probably one of their in Europe, one of their biggest kind of original scripted shows, The Mandalorian. But in the US, they used High School Musical. This goes beyond now the use of their own channels in the US, and they've worked with at least 2 third-party broadcasters to our knowledge in Europe, with Canal, which makes sense through their relationship, and with ProSieben in Germany. And typically we view these kind of teasers with caution, given they're known to drive frustration for free TV users who have to do something to carry on watching, but no doubt it will succeed in supporting a significant awareness growth. The rollout will continue throughout summer in northern and southern Europe. Asia will follow towards the end of the year, and Latin America is not coming until 2021. There may obviously be changes and shocks to this given the situation we find ourselves in now. But Disney have announced that they're not planning on launching the service in the Middle East region in the near future, but they'll license its original content instead exclusively to the regional pay TV service there and streamer OSM. This shows a pragmatism that was also demonstrated when they renewed a movie deal in Latin America with Amazon Prime, which think was renewed until September 2020 for selected film titles, choosing their best path there to monetize their content. There's no real clarity on Africa, although there is some rumor that might come in the end of October 2021. Star India, a subsidiary of Disney since acquiring Fox, launched the OTT service Hotstar in 2015 with AVOD and 2 pay tiers, local content and sports in one, and then premium with international TV, which included HBO and Showtime and a number of movies. It's through Hotstar that Disney have launched Disney Plus in India now, and this is rebranded as Disney Plus Hotstar. Launch was delayed, but has now gone ahead, with unique to any market, the content split between 2 tiers, a result of merging into the pre-existing Hotstar tier structure. The yearly subscription cost of VIP Premium has been raised to 1,500 rupees, $20, up from 1,000 rupees that was previously charged for its most premium tier. And that is the yearly cost, $20 a year. So you can see how competitive and how price sensitive it is in India for the SVOD services. The basic Disney Plus Hotstar VOPT costs just 400 rupees, about $5.30, up from 365 rupees. Basic includes movies from the Marvel Cinematic Universe, access to live sporting events, and a catalogue of movies and shows, and originals from Hotstar, but doesn't include the Disney Plus originals. The premium tier will continue to offer all of that, plus shows from HBO, Fox, and Showtime, and then add the Disney Plus originals. Their device approach is logically very simple, just going for wide reach and availability, including some strategically well-placed initiatives with devices of partners such as Sky's Sky Q set-top box. They're working hard to have a superb app experience. This has always been their focus, leveraging the experience it bought through the ownership of BAMTech, which they bought, I think, fully in 2017. You could describe the features and the allowances as generous in comparison to other streamers who typically are more restrictive in terms of the number of streams they offer, certainly for any basic level plan. Disney Plus has a very well-defined content proposition. I feel you don't even need to dig too much into inventories. You just really have to kind of reiterate that it's about their key brands and their franchises in the Disney stable, including not just Disney, Pixar, Star Wars and Marvel, but obviously National Geographic. The early content plan, which is shown here on the left, made much of the originals focus. With the combination of originals and Disney's high quality catalogue, creating still a smaller volume, but a high quality proposition. Disney's practice of locking away the crown jewels, as they like to call them, in the Disney Vault has been ended, something that kept them driving revenues in the DVD market primarily. And the library is one to be very proud of, although with a significant family skew. There's some concern over their high dependence on back catalogue of films and TV shows to deliver volume, with a clear recognition that the originals need to grow fast. And in numbers terms, this budget's often challenged, with some compare these numbers to Netflix budgets of 15 billion or 17 billion, and even Apple with 6 billion. But that number doesn't tell the whole story. Whilst the original budget is small by comparison to Netflix, we shouldn't forget that Disney's actual annual content spend, excluding sport, is closer to $16 billion, and sport, I think, adds another 10. And in addition to Disney's catalogue quality, you have to factor their ability to funnel content from other areas. And specifically, what these numbers don't necessarily include is what they can do with the theatrical movies that can also come through the platform. And the recency and strength of some of the movies on Disney Plus right now is a critical component. Disney consistently hold the largest share of the annual box office globally and in the US and collectively. They've got 14 of the top 20 movies of all time in their library. And as you can see on the right-hand side here, a quarter of the films that are there right now are from the last decade. The content funnel at its widest can include all Disney-owned shows and movies that hit the TV channels and the movie theatres. The actual content offer across markets are very close, with very few variations, and variations only based on pre-existing licensing deal, which most notably is, in fact, is probably in the US with a lot of their content on Netflix. Distribution partnerships that have including sharing content with Sky, securing co-exclusivity of Disney films and The Simpsons, and perhaps also with local regulation, with French Law for One preventing theatrical releases from appearing on VOD for 3 years unless it has a TV window first. So Disney may keep a closer relationship with Canal there. But all markets are broadly similar in what they offer. Whilst the EST and the Blu-ray and the DVD window will stay largely intact, the company is able to disrupt it. And the exceptional circumstances brought about now by the pandemic has meant they're playing with release windows at the moment for necessity more than as planned process. But it'll be interesting to see how this could evolve and change as we come out of lockdown and as we go forward. But it does it illustrates clearly the lever they have with film releases. Frozen 2 and Onward have both had their Disney Plus dates moved up in the US and other markets. And Artemis Fowl is the latest to change its release pattern after they did move a lot of tentpole releases to unspecified theatrical dates later. But Disney have announced that Artemis Fowl would actually just become an exclusive release on the streaming platform Disney Plus. There's little volume curation past admitting titles that haven't culturally aged very well, and there's no localization really. Localization is yet to be addressed, and that, along with the challenges coming from production freezes, will be a key area to watch. Their plan is that all Disney branded content, including all movies, will be on there, and they will move away from licensing that content to third parties. But the question, even before the production challenges everyone faces now, was if that pipeline of own content alone was not strong enough to maintain a brilliant and I guess prevent churn, what would they be doing with other third-party content? It's the same challenge for all SVODs that became even more apparent last year when Netflix had their first negative quarter following a weak period for the content slate. But for Disney, the question is how, when, if they will move into third-party acquisitions to support the service. Some Fox content outside of the Disney, Pixar, Marvel, Star Wars, sort of Nat Geo sources is appearing, and they will look to secure Spider-Man back to complete the Marvel Cinematic Universe. But what else may follow? And local regulations may well force their approach, in particular in Europe. So to wrap up now, Disney are in a truly unique position globally as they roll out the streaming service. Their current and evolving kind of relationship in the pay TV ecosystem, their content brands, their library, all means that they'll inject healthy competition into the streaming market globally. Every type of video service is going to need to weather these production challenges facing the industry. And one would think that Disney and the streamers are as well placed as anybody to do this. Netflix certainly feel from yesterday that they are the best place to do it. But there will no doubt be a little bit of a hiatus before investors get the chance to express their views on how well the service is doing. And whilst early US success is positive, the challenge internationally is very different. And Disney will also have significant domestic challenges to the business in lockdown with the theme parks and their other US businesses. That's it for now. We can look now to questions, and I'll switch over to the Q&A and see what we have. So there's a question here on me. I cited some limited challenges. Can anyone challenge Disney Plus in the next 3 years? I think it's a great question. I think the first thing really that we all need to kind of focus on is how this isn't a zero-sum game. Disney don't necessarily have to beat someone else to win. I think there are now I think it's up to think it's up to 6 million homes in the UK that have got more than one, two or more SVOD subscriptions. And the early signs in the US, and I think some metrics in France, suggested that they were growing the market rather than stealing and forcing switching. That's not sustainable. I think there's plenty of anecdotal evidence that there is more switching, people switching in out to get the content they want. And I think if you're more specific on the question, can the other new global streamers or streamers in the pipeline challenge them? So I guess we're thinking of HBO Max around the corner in some markets, and whatever happens with Peacock. I think it's hard to challenge what Disney is. It's a very specific product, and in terms of what it does, it will do well. How do you see the retention issues they might face? Strong, yeah, big. I mean, that's the big challenge with them, is retention, and I think that's they've shown they appreciate that challenge by their early activity with distribution partners in the market, because they can tie themselves in to longer term contracts, and they also they have quite a heavily discounted annual policy as well. I think every one of the streamers is going to be dealing with those retention issues, and I think come the end of this year, with the production problems, as you say in your question, that's just going to become amplified. And more specifically, yeah, hi Mike, what impact do you expect HBO Max to have on Disney Plus growth in 2020? I think that's my honest feeling with that is that's a North American question, potentially Latin American as well, but I don't see HBO Max having a significant impact outside of North America for some time. I think we know already that it's unlikely it will launch in any form in the UK because of their strength of relationship with Sky, and there'll be other markets where they won't launch in that way. But in the US, which is an important market, it'll have an impact, but it's such a different price point, it's such a different pricing level, significantly more. So they're whilst they're playing in a different field, I guess they are still going to compete for purse, for share of wallet. So, but I do think it's going to be tough to predict that. A few more questions. We've got a couple of minutes, so let me see. Okay, here we go. How will removing the discounts on their promotional arrangements impact their success? I think if everyone loves to rush to the data and to find out kind of what the numbers are, and I, throughout my whole career, have always urged people not to try and get away from those KPIs early on. I think they're definitely going to have a lot of kind of promotional kind of sign-ups that will disappear. There's even some signs of that already through some interesting tracking metrics in, I think, France and maybe other markets. So it's a balance they have to play. It's a big balance they have to play, because it will undoubtedly kind of encourage churn. Churn will be at higher levels for those ones who've signed up to those promo packs. Okay, maybe one more question. Let's see. Disney have no app yet on Deutsche Telekom set-top box. Do you see some technical bandwidth issues on their side? I having spoken to various people over the last 6 months about set-top box integration, the message that we always got back was that they absolutely are fully focused on excellence within the app. They really want the app experience to be brilliant. They don't want to make kind of key mistakes with that and how it works. And as a result, they were deprioritizing some of the integrations with other devices. And that would include the likes, I imagine, of Deutsche Telekom set-top box. Clearly, kind of in some cases, they have focused on it, the likes of Sky Q, but I expect it will come. I know from discussions there are exacting standards and priorities that are pushing them further away. It was my last understanding of it. I hope that's okay. There are a few other questions. We'll take a look at them afterwards. We'll have a look and we can see about getting back to you all. I am available. My details will be they're here on the slide, but you can reach out and get in touch anytime. It's been a pleasure, and I'll hand back now to Karen.
Thanks, Jack. That was really interesting, and we really appreciate your time in putting it all together. Thanks everyone for the questions and answer session. We do love a good question and answer session. Anyone that didn't get an answer, I'll email the questions over to Jack. And if anybody else has any more questions, you can either email Jack directly from his email there on the screen, or email info@ctameurope.com. If you wish to view the presentation again, it will be uploaded onto the members only section of the CTAM Europe website, alongside the past webinars and podcasts that are on there from both CTAM Europe and CTAM US as well. So I hope you've all enjoyed it. We've got the webinar Wednesdays now, every Wednesday until the 1st of June. Next week, it's on the screen there, we've got a duo, Natalie Lethbridge, founder of Atonic Digital, and Adam Cunningham, Chief Global Strategist, I couldn't even say that, sorry, Allied Global Marketing. They're presenting about movies and theatrical releases and whether COVID-19 is an opportunity to transform transactional VOD. So thanks again, Jack. We really do appreciate it. Thank you both. Thank you from us both, and everyone keep safe, and I wish you a pleasant week. Thanks, Jack.